All right, we're back. Oh, so yeah, technical difficulties. I don't know why it was that the game imploded at that moment, but it did. Hmm. I have some thoughts on that, though, actually. Let me see here. So I'm wondering if what happened here is that it overran my CPU. I may have to shift, uh, you know, a window into the technical difficulties, folks. I might have to shift my encoding to be purely on the graphics card. We'll see. So, since this was happening while it was freezing up on me, um, we come to we're either narrating from the perspective of Hajime or somebody else. Our voice lines have triple question mark. We come to on a boat or a ship of some kind, and Nagito is there. I saw his true character, the overfamiliar attitude, the friendly smile, but under that thin skin I could detect a foul, offensive odor that's like some kind of putrid slime. Wow. Tell us what you really think, unknown narrator. In a sensible way, of course. Is that like putting parentheses affectionate after an insult? The noise is obnoxious, though. How should I put it? It was a smell exclusive to those who were already finished. Is this zombie Nagito? Is that the twist? Monokuma isn't like running some sort of simulation. This is actually necromancy. Nice to meet you. I'm Nagito Komeda. Anyway, lucky me. It's been a while since anyone was willing to talk to me, so to share a room with a person like that. Yep, I'm definitely lucky. Lucky? So that's your talent, then. What a boring talent. Boring talent, huh? Well, that's exactly what it is. But for someone I'm meeting for the first time to say that so suddenly, that's because I have luck as well. Just like arrogant Makoto? Huh? Even I possess a talent as boring as luck. Possess, huh? I'm starting to get really interested. Who are you? You're obviously from Hope's Peak Academy too, right? So you're one of us? Ah, but that's so weird. This is the first time I've ever seen you. Can you tell me why you're here? How did you end up here? How boring. Ah, sorry, I'm often told I'm terrible at making conversation. Not you. This world. Huh? This world is full of boring people. People who lack talent stick together and oppress those who do possess talent. Uh... Usually no. Even though they know they're insignificant, they don't try to acknowledge their true superiors. They are profoundly desperate to drag them down to their level. Because of them, this world has come to a deadlock. This world has stopped evolving. How boring. Well, the world is shaped by the will of the majority. It makes sense that it bends to those who lack talent. That's why we're in our present situation. Perhaps, does that have anything to do with the reason you're here? Boring people make no contributions to the world, not even a speck of dust. That's why my teachers taught me that a certain degree of selection must be performed. You know, it's not a far reach if you characterize 40K's, Warhammer's Tzeentch as a bored teenager. You know, face down on the floor, kicking feet. I'm bored. Like, oh, plots within plots, you know, super sneaky, but it's like, no, they're just doing random stuff because they're bored. Yep. It's like they had high expectations for you, huh? That's completely different from me. What are you planning to do? Now that you've ended up like this, there's nothing you can do, right? Sure all the buttons are properly pressed here. Yep. Using people is a talent, too. It's now my turn to use that person just as they used me in the past. That person? Are you talking about ultimate despair? But how? I mean, they're already... I have it with me. The contribution that person left to me. Even now, it rests in my pocket. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm definitely lucky. I can't believe I'm speaking with someone as amazing as you. Then will I be able to see her again? Will I be able to see the person I hate with every fiber of my being again? And this time, will I be able to kill her this time? The person I hate so much? Hate? Then explain your hand. Ah, this? The end of that bandage is a woman's hand, right? Laugh. Isn't it amazing? I can't move it, of course. I mean, it's not my hand, after all. But even now, it still hasn't rotted. And maybe that means it's becoming one with me. Isn't it amazing? I have successfully become one with ultimate despair, my sworn enemy. We see her lose a hand? See, so you salvage the body. You really are a boring person. I don't want you to misunderstand. I just see her as my enemy, you know. Because she's my sworn enemy, because I hate her so much. That's why I took her power, and for that, I... Wait, huh? Do I hate her? Huh, that's strange. Huh? Much, huh? Extra, huh? Look out the window, we're finally here. You're starting to see it too, right? That's Jabberwock Island, isn't it? Isn't it exciting? I wonder what's going to happen on that island once we get there. What's going to happen? I can already predict what will happen. Huh? I already know because I am loved by talent. No matter what happens, it's of no concern to me. I will not be able to participate in what lies ahead. Really? I don't really understand, but I guess we have to part ways for a while. It's disappointing. We seem to get along pretty well. Hey, can I see you again? There's no reason we'll ever meet again. After all, you're boring. You bore me. You're a boring person. Your talent, your thoughts, your entire existence is boring to me. Kind of a tell me what you really think moment, huh? You really don't play along, do you? Okay. I mean, I can't recall, casemate. Huh? What is this? All right, this is the door that we entered through at the beginning with the same sort of, you know, special effects. It's a door. There's a door. The object before me has the shape of a door. Huh? A door? Perhaps it's a door. Why is a door here? I feel like his brain is booting up. Where am I? Why am I in front of a door? How did I get here? In front of this door. Where am I supposed to go? Perhaps through the door. She'll lurchingly walk towards the door. Huh? Isn't this a classroom? But even so, it's a very strange classroom. Why am I in a place like this? I went inside the ancient room with everyone else. And I arrived at a place that looked like a trial ground, but then it's not connecting. I don't know why I'm here. It's like there's no connection between how I left the trial ground and how I ended up here. It's just like before, when we were all gathered at that classroom just before we arrived at Jabberwock Island. But where is this place? Is it somewhere on Jabberwock Island? Da 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 da. Anyone else deal with that school bell?
Ahem, ahem. Testing, testing. Mic check 1, 2. This is a test of the school broadcast system.
At some point, a lot of places shifted over to that chime that they played here. Sometimes with 4 more notes after it. Uh, but I do recall locations that had the old fire bell kind of thing. Um, the only thing I recall as far as Hajime's talent, Quinn, was that Nagito asserted he didn't have one.
Am I on? Can everyone hear me? Okay, well then. Welcome to Hope Speak Academy, you guys! At this point, I shall explain the graduation exam to you all. So please assemble at the gymnasium immediately!
Did he say what I think he just said? He definitely said it. He said, "Welcome to Hope's Peak Academy." But why would this place be Hope's Peak Academy? And not just that, what is the graduation exam? Isn't the killing over already? Well, he remembers the killing. The killing tends to be memorable. Or at least one would hope. If there's going to be killing, it should at least be memorable. Little splash, little flash, you know. And the hallway doesn't feel like a school at all. What a creepy place. At least it doesn't look like a normal school at all. It's definitely a lie. There's no way this place is Hope's Peak Academy. This creepy place, the Hope's Peak Academy that I've admired for so long? The main characters need somebody to walk behind them and, like, slap them upside the back of the head on a regular basis so that they stop, like, they'll get into a loop. I think it's possible to do them well. There are times, it's pretty frequent when they don't. Very frequently they fall into the... Like, you want it to land an unreliable narrator. You don't want it to fall into it was all a dream. The movie version of the Wizard of Oz problem, you know? Probably a building that Monokuma made to startle us, just like the funhouse. That's right, that's definitely it. Monokuma said to come to the gymnasium, right? Then I'll go and definitely clear things up. The Monokuma door. Storage room. The gymnasium is here, right? All right, I'm going inside. Something might be waiting, but I'm not going to cower away anymore. So I braced myself and cautiously opened the door. This is the end. Goodbye, Academy of Despair. I wasn't prepared for what was waiting for me on the other side of that door. It was a normal gymnasium.
Damn right.
Yo, Hajime.
Yo.
You heard the announcement and came here too. You guys did too, right?
What's going on?
What do you make of all this? Monokuma said the place was Hope's Peak Academy or something.
That is...
That cannot be possible.
Well, yeah.
Any way you look at it, it's impossible. How does it feel to return to long-awaited Hope's Peak Academy?
Why, you...
Where are we? Where'd you lock us up this time?
That's...
What a shock. I just told you guys this is Hope's Peak Academy.
Of course not!
no way that's true.
No.
Oh, but it is. I mean, this is definitely Hope's Peak Academy. Well, what's left of it, anyway. What's left of it? Didn't I tell you before? Unfortunately, Hope's Peak Academy fell to ruin.
Lies.
You were serious about that? You saw it.
Stupid fool.
She still has Minimaru.
Hmm.
Of course it fell to ruin. I mean, they were doing things that they deserved to be ruined for. Well, I presume they saw a simulation thereof. But the presentation of the exterior of Hope's Peak is having that vault door in a minigun defense system aligns with one of the things they said at the first. In the first was that people tried to rescue them and that the defenses gunned them down.
I don't like this.
Anyway, I'm pretty disappointed. I went to all this trouble to bring you to Hope's Peak Academy, and you don't feel surprised or nostalgic.
Fine.
Oh well, it's not like I did this for you guys. Even if you don't feel nostalgic, I'm sure someone is feeling nostalgic right now. Someone.
Don't fuck with me!
Enough with this, just spit it out already. Where'd you take us? Well, I'm not certain of my memories. I believe we entered the ancient rune,
In other
and
words,
it means I made this Hope's Peak Academy between the door to the rune and the inside of the rune.
you.
What do you mean, between?
Hey!
What do you mean, made?
What's this?
Are your minds getting the grumblies that only knowledge can satisfy? Good, very good. It's fine to hurry along to the graduation exam, but it's in my nature to provide a little entertainment. Entertainment? You're planning to make us do something, aren't you?
No way!
There's nothing to be so cautious about. It's not like you'll be making life exchanges or anything like that.
Shing!
It's just a simple graduation exam.
Huh?
What is the exam?
Hey,
Well, as the headmaster, I'm conflicted, you know. On one hand, I'm really happy that you're going to graduate.
Are you sure about this?
But on the other hand, I'm worried about whether you guys will be okay in the outside world.
So,
That's why I'm thinking about telling you what the outside world is like before you make a decision. Whether you want to leave Jabberwock Island or stay here. Huh?
why?
We're obviously going to get out. There's no way we'd stay here.
That's right!
It's annoying. Just hurry up and let us choose. Let us choose right now.
No.
You can't do that. The main cast hasn't arrived yet. Main cast?
Hey,
Meaning you guys are just extras until the guest of honor arrives. So enough complaining already. Hurry up and start researching the outside world. What do you mean? I've dispersed all the teaching materials you need for your research throughout Hope's Peak Academy. I don't think this needs to be said, but all the information is accurate and contains no lies whatsoever. Otherwise, the main cast is going to hate me. So please rest assured and strive to do your best during your field trip. As usual, after leaving us with his cryptic words, Monokuma disappeared. Even if the setting had changed, even if the killing was finished, he was still the same as usual. What is going on? Outside world? Main cast? Somehow I have a bad feeling about this.
Hey!
Like, he kept insisting that this place is Hope's Peak Academy. But that's impossible, right?
What are you saying?
How'd we make it back to Hope's Peak Academy from a tropical island in the first place? The same way you got to the tropical island. Like, you're willing to expect one direction of magical, mysterious transport, but you're not willing to accept the other? Like, oh man, we were teleported to this strange location. And then upon being teleported back, you're like, this is impossible. You can't be teleported places. It's impossible.
It cannot be.
There's no place for Hope's Peak Academy to exist on Jabberwock Island. Said I wanted to go back, but I don't want to go back to a creepy place like this. What does this mean? So many things I don't understand have happened on the island. This building is really Hope's Peak Academy? This is the Hope's Peak Academy I've been admiring for so long. What in the world is going on? Why is this happening? Why? I was finally able to attend Hope's Peak Academy. I finally thought I'd become confident in myself. Even so, I wanted to become Hope. If that's what you're thinking, just stop it. Listen carefully. The only humans worthy of becoming Hope possess amazing talents and a strong will. And the moment you're born into this world, you either have that or you don't. It has nothing to do with effort. You must be chosen by Hope to become Hope. That's why it's not even worth admiring, or were you so blinded by your admiration for Hope's Peak Academy that you couldn't even see that? You're just some nobody from the reserve course who never had a talent to begin with. A nobody who forgot he was a nobody, that's all. If I really am a nobody, then you should have just left me alone. Why do I have to go through something like this? Hajime, did something happen? You've been staring off into the middle distance for a while. I'm concerned you might be internal monologuing. It would kind of be amusing if that's how it went down, is every time Hajime goes off on one of his overblown, kind of melodramatic internal monologues, that he's actually holding still and everybody can see him doing it. Just every now and then one of them leans around, tries to figure out what he's staring at, waves their hand in front of his face. It's only because the paper dolls are not animated that we can't see them, like, jumping up and down, waving at him. Huh?
Hey, bastard!
Now's not the time to... This implies that they can see him doing it. Now's not the time to zone out. Sorry, it's nothing. I don't really get it, but is that all?
I'm gonna do it!
As long as I don't beat the crap out of Monokuma, nothing's gonna be solved. Is that what it means?
Hey!
So what is Monokuma anyway? He's not part of the Future Foundation, right? If you say that, then what is the Future Foundation?
Jeez.
Even though Chiaki and Monomi are gone, our situation hasn't changed one bit, which means the Future Foundation wasn't our enemy. That's the only thing I can think of.
You serious?
So they're not World Ender? Then we really were tricked by Monokuma? He seemed so trustworthy, though. I am shocked and appalled that the horrible murder bear was not trustworthy after all.
However...
The Future Foundation is responsible for trapping us on this island, right? Regarding that matter, I believe Monomi never once denied that.
Damn it.
Even if there are allies, they might not just be allies. Yeah, that's something Akane would say. Even if it's an apple, it might not be an apple. Maybe Monokuma is telling us to investigate that information on our own. Jackie said she could not betray the Future Foundation, but if she were still alive, she definitely would have helped us. No, even her just being with us would have been a big help. So what should we do? Stand here and discuss what we should do some more? Well, that's obvious. If we're going to get out of here safely, we have to go do that graduation exam, right?
So annoying.
Graduation exam, huh? Not really good at taking exams.
Huh.
Guess it's better than people dying.
Jeez.
Monokuma said something about a field trip, right? Is he telling us to investigate like we have been?
All right.
Let's go. I'm gonna do it.
Prepare yourself.
Like,
Yeah, we might be able to learn something about something. About Hope's Peak Academy. About ourselves. I don't care if we don't know anymore. If we can just go back to our normal lives, I'm fine. Hey, we can go home when this is over, right? We can finally get off this island, right? If that's the case, let's all leave this island alive. Let's all leave this island alive by any means.
Of course.
I feel like every time Sonya does something like this, there should be quotation marks around what she says. Like, you can really see her doing air quotes and saying, hell yes. Like, she doesn't know what the words mean. She just knows that people use them in this kind of circumstance. Sort of the tourist reiterating something very loudly kind of vibe. He's right. Now's not the time to bemoan how unlucky I am. Where this place really is, what's happened to Hope's Peak Academy. None of that matters. What's important is, I need to leave this island with the others. We sacrificed so many lives in order to survive just so we could do that. There's no way we can stop now. But Monokuma, just thinking back to the whole, he's just standing there staring off into the distance while doing this monologue, and everybody's watching him uncomfortably. Yeah, we should do this. Let's go. And then he just stops. Monokuma should already know that's what we're thinking. So why did he say that? We have to decide on our own whether or not we want to leave Jabberwock Island. You should already know that we never choose to stay on this island.
Hey.
So what are we going to do? Can we start already? What are we looking for? We just have to investigate this building?
even so.
Hey there, Tass. Maybe he's striking thoughtful poses. You know, finding something to step up a little bit on. At least pantomiming taking off glasses. Pointing dramatically into the distance. Doing that little clenched fist thing. Even so, I don't think we'll find answers to all our questions inside this building. One of these times she's going to do that, and that shirt's finally going to give way. And then, like, 3 people will be killed by button shotgun effect. Just go on ahead for now.
Whoa!
You're already going.
Jeez.
Is that idiot thinking running ahead without being cautious?
Man.
It has served her well for the most part. Like, aside from emotional trauma, she's never been punished for it. She obviously isn't thinking about
However-
anything. It will be fine. There will no longer be any situations where we must exchange each other's lives.
All right.
So we should do our best as well. Like they say, it's not scary if everyone stops at a green light. Sure. If we stopped at the green light, we'd never reach our goal.
Jeez. You're pathetic.
Kane already took off on her own. It might be faster if we split up and look around, too. Split up and look for clues, gang.
Huh.
Sonya said, if there's no more killing, we don't have to worry about anyone betraying us anymore. Let's get this over with and go home.
Later.
I mean, if you use a 3-person buddy system and there's only one person that could kill at any given time, you're in pretty good shape. If you end up with an uneven number of people such that you can't split up into triples for all of them and say you have like 1 or 2 left over, then the 2 people are potential sacrifices. Because if you come back and only one member of a pair is left, then you kind of know what went down. If you've got trios, then nominally the 2 people could overpower the 1. Those brief words, Fuyuhiko left the
Excuse me.
gymnasium. I guess what I'm getting at is the whole, let's all split up and look for clues in a murder game scenario could have served them well if they had thought about it a little bit. But instead they were like, hey, let's all go out and confuse our alibis, okay? I shall do my best to obtain a wonderful clue that will be useful to everyone. Now then, please excuse me. Sonya took a deep bow and left the gymnasium.
Oh my.
Sonya. Please don't leave me. I'll be in danger if I'm left alone. Kazuichi chased after Sonya, who had just departed, and left the gymnasium. I should hurry and start too. Just a bit more. Just a bit more and it's going to end. I can escape this nightmare and return to my usual, peaceful, everyday life. The only thing we can do is advance towards that hope. Even though I don't understand and that a lot of horrifying things keep happening. For the sake of everyone who couldn't make it this far, I'm definitely going to go home. Turned it up a little bit. Very different music. Huh? That's weird. This is the hallway I walked through to get to the gymnasium, but it's clearly different. It is the basic investigation music, but it's kind of a remix, you know? And you are being downright social today, Sherbet. Nobody. Is this Monokuma's doing too? Is he trying to confuse us again? Are we to believe that there is something about the effect of this environment or this whole process that is causing him to be blind to the very obvious something's weird environment? Like, is it that he can't see this, but we can? Kind of like how he didn't seem to react to the dead people during the, one of the prior sequences. I don't know how he's doing it, but he keeps doing it over and over again. He's so persistent, Hajime said out loud to himself. But I'm not going to fall for his trap. There's no way this will make me back down. This hallway, there is a strange feeling to it, no? As if an invisible wall has been erected to limit our movement.
I am concerned.
Is it just me? I get that impression that some of the, like, what we're seeing is us as observers, not the characters. Hello. There's a thing on the floor. Is this a dojo? It's full of strange things that make me think there's no way we're inside a school. Perhaps it's a mistake to expect the inside of this building to make sense. What's this? Is this a manga? The title is Manga for Morons, A History of Hope's Peak Academy by Monokuma. Why is a manga with such a suspicious-looking title laying out in the open like this? Let's start with history first, class.
Hey,
Reading manga is the third best way to learn about history. Then what's the first, you ask? I like that laugh. That's a good laugh. Depends on the person. So just as I thought, Monokuma made this. Totally explains how suspicious it looks. I really want to just ignore it, but there's no way I can do that. Fine, I'll look at it. I mean, that's the whole reason you guys split up to look around, isn't it? To look for things exactly like this? Look, an obvious clue on the floor. Well, forget that. But anything that might be a clue to getting out of here, no matter what it is. Picked up the manga off the floor and started flipping through the pages. It's an introduction to Hope's Peak Academy history, as narrated by the cutesy character on the cover. The story begins with an introduction. Hope's Peak Academy is a government-funded school of privilege where only the most talented high school students can hope to attend. Built to raise hope in the nation's future, many of its alumni are key leaders of various industries. New students are chosen through a scouting process, but the ones who scout them are Hope's Peak Academy's teachers, who serve as both educators and researchers of talent. You know, Hope's Peak Academy has a real government-funded eugenics vibe to it, doesn't it? Hope's Peak Academy isn't just a school for talent, it's also a school for researching talent as well. Get down from there, Amber. Like, but I want to stand on the microphone. Really put a strain on the armature's hinge, you know? Yes, I know. Don't pick a fight with Sammy, Ember. Walked up, she sniffed at Sammy, did the whole, like, mutual cheek rub thing, sat back, and then took 3 swings at Sammy. Beverage. However, for the past few years, Hope's Peak Academy has been suffering from a decline in funding. If this persists, the Academy believes they will not be able to make progress with their research of talent. So they decided to implement a new system. The Reserve Department. Unlike the main department, who scouts for students, the Reserve Department utilizes a general entrance exam. Normal faculty was hired and placed in charge of looking after the Reserve Department. The expenses and exam fees for the Reserve Department are quite high compared to most high schools. Nevertheless, Hope's Peak Academy received an endless stream of applicants. Hope's Peak Academy was now available to talentless commoners, people who only cared about the brand. Casemate, it's the overall... It's like a genetic improvement philosophy. It's stopping bad qualities, or the label, you know, what it claims on the tin is that it is to remove bad qualities and emphasize good ones. What it usually means is, you know, bad. Making some bread there, Quinn? Great Hope's Peak Academy's earnest wish, a true genius who would become mankind's hope. But just when they thought everything was going well, an unprecedented incident occurred. The incident that triggered the tragedy. The biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. That's right, it was the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy. Hope's Peak Academy was crippled by this incident and was forced to shut down without accomplishing anything. The end. Like cookie dough or bread dough? Huh? The ending was so sudden, like a manga that's suddenly canceled in the middle of its run. Plus, these phrases mentioned at the end of the manga. The tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy. These names are so melodramatic. There's no way these incidents really happened, right? This manga only mentions the names, so I don't really know the details, but... Nah, there'd just be a waste of time to wonder about these things that don't make sense. Huh. More importantly, I learned something because of this manga. The Reserve Department. That department was only built to collect money. I was one of those reserve course students, right?
But hold on.
That's weird. Oh, you're here again.
Shing!
The thing that's weird is you, of course. Oh,
Hey! Hey!
why did you forget you were part of the reserve department? The Future Foundation only took away your school life memories, right? But you should have known even before you entered that you had no talent, right? So I think it's weird that you actually forgot something like that, too. What do you want me to say?
By the way,
And based on my assumption, the Future Foundation must have wanted to hide the fact that you were one of those reserve course students.
I got it!
Or you willingly sealed those memories yourself. Huh? You wanted to be confident in yourself, so you wanted to forget everything that embarrassed you. You know, when humans experience trauma, sometimes they erase their memories of what happened. It happens pretty often. Not that I'd know anything about that, though. Are you saying it's my fault I forgot? That's not it.
Come on!
When things get inconvenient, you always get angry and try to brush it off. Well, that's expected of a reserve course student. Let's remember that the likes of Akane are in the primary Hope's Peak. What the heck? Reserve Department. In there. Down there. I have to talk to Kazuichi? I don't wanna.
What's going on?
This hallway, it's kind of creepy. I can't go to places I should be able to go to. It's like some rule is being enforced for no reason. Like there's an invisible wall or something. Another manga. It's laying on top of the desk. This one is Manga for Morons, The Tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy. Wasn't The Tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy mentioned in that other manga, too? That's why Hope's Peak Academy went bankrupt, and it was the trigger for the biggest, most tragic, most awful event in human history. If I read this manga, I will be able to learn a little more about that incident. Will I be able to? Took the manga from the desk and started flipping through the pages. See what I could learn about the event known as the Tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy. The story made heavy use of outdated stylized drawings depicting characters solving mysteries. What's written here is, as the name suggests, the Tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy occurred at Hope's Peak Academy. Shocking. The key player in that event was a student named Izuru Kamukura. Izuru was a genius known as a symbol of hope. Hope's Peak Academy used all their resources to develop him. Supposedly, Izuru was a genius among geniuses and possessed various talents. Wielding superior talent for the hope of mankind, the Academy referred to Izuru as the ultimate hope. To protect such rare talent, the Academy completely concealed all evidence of Izuru's origin and identity. Because of that, most of the students at the Academy were completely unaware of Izuru's existence. But Izuru who was known as the symbol of hope, was responsible for a horrible incident. 13 students of Hope's Peak Academy's Student Council, among the Academy's best and brightest, were brutally murdered by Izuru. Well. However, the incident did not end there. The Academy tried to protect Izuru's superior talent and concealed the incident as though it never happened. So, I feel like they're overlooking a serious character flaw. They're like, oh, he's really smart and we should preserve that. But he randomly murders large groups of people. Yeah, you gotta balance things. However, a certain student began working in secret to use that incident to their advantage. That student uncovered what the Academy did, and by making that knowledge public, yeah, I mean, you know, if you want to make an omelet, you've got to murder a whole student council worth of very talented people. It's just the cost of doing business. I mean, at this point, Quinn, it would be wild speculation. It's possible that there was something, you know, bad about the student council and they wanted to put a stop to them. It's possible that Izuru is completely bonkers and homicidal. They could have been lizard people. He had to test out his space laser. They just happened to walk into the testing range at the wrong moment. That student uncovered what the Academy did, and by making that knowledge public, it stoked the fires of Reserve Corps students who had long been dissatisfied with how they'd been treated. And the uprising began. And that heralded Hope's Peak Academy's destruction. This is the entirety of the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy. Eventually that incident would lead to that horrifying, devastating incident. The incident that would be known as the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. We're excited. Danganronpa /0. Is a canonical reference to the word Danganronpa. Heavy sigh, I close the manga. Am I supposed to believe this? There's no way 13 people were killed at Hope's Peak Academy. What irony! For a genius known as the ultimate hope to cause such a gruesome incident. Huh. I wonder if that was the, is that the carnage in the room in Danganronpa 1? One of the few places that had red blood instead of hot pink. Talent like that is too regal for society. It's like trying to buy juice with a bar of gold. Is it really good juice? Interesting, Quinn. You should be lucky that you're incompetent. Always has to lead up to something offensive. But ultimate hope. Nagito mentioned that before too, but it looks like it means something completely different here. What Nagito said was the true meaning of hope. But for Izuru, hope simply means talent. More importantly, a genius who possesses various talents. Wish they'd given me one of those talents so I didn't have to be in the reserve department. That's right, the reserve department. Here it said that the reserve department students in the reserve department began uprising. The reserve corps students in the reserve department who are part of the reserve department. These reserve corps students from the reserve department. Then what about me? Was I a participant too? That's not possible. No way, I have no reason to do something like that. Tragedy of Hope's Peak has been added to the Truth Bullet section. Anyway, I've learned about the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy, but the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history is far worse, right? What kind of incident was it? And who's this other student that isn't Azuri? A certain student who secretly used the incident to their advantage. Who is that? Are they going to be like, ooh, plot twist, it was Hajime? This incident is really messed up, but all it's doing is raising more questions. The mysteries just keep piling up. Because if they actually do like, oh man, it was Hajime all along, then I'll have to trot out the statement I made before, is that if you don't remember it, then you might as well not have done it. At least as far as, you know, your behaviors are concerned. Raw. What is with this room? It's cold in here. Like I'm in a freezer or something. If I just stand still, I might end up freezing to death. I should hurry up and investigate so that I can get out of here already, Hajime said, out loud. It's another manga just laying around here. This time the title is Manga for Morons, the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. Knew it. The next one would obviously be about this incident. The biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history, huh? So what was that incident really all about? It might turn out to be something lame. Yeah, past a little bit past the end of the well, heading into the post, like after the end of the 5th trial, things have been getting glitchy. By Monokuma. Story about creepily drawn characters who get involved in such horrifying incidents. Incident known as the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. Is this drawn so grotesquely because the incident itself is that grotesque? The beginning of this creepy manga starts with this sentence. Yeah, I mean, they've telegraphed the whole seems to be a simulation thing since the very beginning of Danganronpa 2. I'm wondering if they're going to retcon that into 1 as well. The tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy was simply the trigger. At first, the uprising by the Reserve Corps students that triggered the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy was initially hoped to be resolved quickly, but the situation continued to escalate to dangerous extremes. The movement started spreading all over the internet, fostered a thriving online community. The community was not limited to students, and people of various races and nations began joining in. With the movement was not confined to the internet and began spreading and eroding the real world. When the movement started, it was indistinguishable from any other demonstration inspired by social unrest. We do have a lot of tell don't show going on here. But as it spread across the world, certain abnormalities soon came to light. By then it was too late. The ends and the means had vanished, and wanton destruction became their only goal. The strong butchered the weak killed the weakest among them, and soon the weak formed factions to brutally murder the strong. As the violence and death continued to spread, the shock of their actions began to disappear, as if the era was regressing to more uncivilized times when senseless death were the norm. Deaths, plural. The media was oversaturated with death to the point where people would watch them while enjoying a meal. By the time the world realized what it had become, it was too late to stop what had happened. Our entire media ecosystem became murder porn so subtly that we hardly noticed. A feeling of immense despair began spreading and eventually engulfed the world. Acts of terrorism and coups d'etats began occurring around the world. A war raged in the name of despair. A war fought not for principles, religion, or personal gain, just war. Pure war. And because of that, there was no way to resolve it. How could a movement started by high school students progress to such a hopeless scenario? The only explanation is the existence of a certain organization, devoted to a certain student who influenced Hope's Peak Academy, a group called Ultimate Despair. Instead of using Hope's Peak Academy's talents for the sake of mankind's hope, they used them for the sake of mankind's despair. Key members of society used their influence to brainwash the masses in order to spread despair. Tech-savvy computer programmers wrote software to spread despair. Well, I mean, we've picked back up with the level of use of the word despair that we had in the first game. The powerful and influential created new values and morals to spread despair. With this, they created the tragedy, the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. As long as ultimate despair exists, the despair engulfing the world will never end. The tragedy will never end. My heart was racing in my chest, but my body felt ice cold, and it wasn't because I was freezing in this room. The biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. This is definitely all made up, he said out loud. I mean, if this were really true, then what's happening in the outside world? My family, my friends, the convenience store I frequent, the nearby bookstore, my favorite restaurant. His concerns in order. What's happened to them?
No way!
Are you seriously yelling at a manga? How crazy are you? Oh, I love that somebody's finally called him out on it. Like, his internal monologues are one thing, but frequently they do have him saying that stuff out loud, too. I would enjoy reading something like this.
What?
You don't like manga? A high school student who doesn't like manga is like an office lady who doesn't like to eat candy. What is this messed up manga? I thought you'd obviously know about such a horrible event that destroyed the world, but for you not to remember that, such despair. That's the Future Foundation's fault, though, thanks to them stealing your school memories. The incident that happened during that period has been completely removed from your brains. This incident really happened and I actually forgot about it? There's no way that's possible.
What are you saying?
How many times do I have to tell you all the clues here are real?
Hello.
Please understand, I'm rooting for you. If you don't learn about the full extent of the outside world, you guys will suffer for it. I just want to help you guys so you can live well-adjusted lives in the outside world. I see, so that's how it is. That's what he meant by what he said at the beginning. Well, as the headmaster, I'm conflicted, you know. On one hand, I'm really happy you're going to graduate. But on the other hand, I'm worried about whether you guys will be okay in the outside world. I'm thinking about telling you what the outside world is like before you make a decision. He's trying to make us feel despair toward the outside world, so we'll want to stay on this island. There's no way I'm going to do what he wants. Despair like that simply can't exist. The outside world should be filled with hope. Just like now. Perhaps? No, that's definitely it. The tragedy. Whether or not this incident really happened, what in the world is this ultimate despair group? If they're devoted to a certain student who guided Hope's Peak Academy to its destruction, are they connected to both the tragedy and the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy? Plus, that organization isn't just one person, but a group of people. But if they're known as Ultimate Despair, they're high school students, right? Well, if they're actually able to do it, then I guess that's why they were called Ultimates. Then are the killings we're involved in connected to them as well? No use. I'm gonna freeze to death. I'm at my limit. I need to get out of here. Then stop narrating and get out. Shivering, I ran out of the freezing room. It's close. I nearly froze to death. Where should I go next? I don't know. Through the next door it lets us go through. This way. No, I should ignore it. I'm just going to pretend I didn't see him.
Jeez.
When I'm inside this room, that bear was suddenly here. He keeps glancing at me. Wonder why. It's gonna be shitty either
Damn
way.
right.
So I'll let you handle it. There's no way I'm gonna deal with that idiot. I don't want to do that either. Why are you making me do it?
Hiya!
Like, hello, Hajime. I hope you're doing pleasingly well.
Boom, boom.
Are you pleasingly well? You're pleasingly well, right? What are you doing here?
No, no.
Well, there's another thing I needed to tell you on this floor. I got bored of drawing manga. Can you forgive me for telling you by word of mouth? Should have done that from the beginning. I didn't want to read your manga in the first place. A high school student who doesn't like manga? It's like a sumo wrestler who doesn't like eating hot pots. Getting really fed up with your babbling. Hurry up. What did you need to tell me? It's about that key piece of information you've been waiting so long for.
What?
Surprise, it's about ultimate despair. Even though the term ultimate despair refers to a group these days,
Actually,
it was originally the title for a high school girl who was the most powerful, evil, and feared person alive. A high school girl.
yes, indeed.
Junko Inoshima. Junko.
Hey,
As the former ultimate despair, she created a despair brimming with charm and humor, and created the ultimate despairs. They were... There was one really horrible person in that group.
Don't fuck with me.
Hold on a sec. I don't know what the ultimate despairs are, but it's not that easy to form an organization. There's no way people would join some organization created by a high school girl.
unbelievable.
Humans who are obsessed with their philosophy have an uncanny power to attract others. It's a trait shared by many famous leaders throughout history, right? There's nothing strange about it.
Hey,
That holds true for Lady Junko. With her charismatic ability to attract people, she even influenced those in the highest echelons of power.
Phew.
Her connections were the main reason that incident became the tragedy in the first place. So she even recruited people who would have been in a position to neutralize the threat.
Huh?
Then what was their purpose?
Huh?
Huh?
You...
Why did they cause that incident? Doesn't even make sense. They had a purpose, right? There's no way they'd do that without any purpose.
Hey,
It was Junko Inoshima's despair. Huh? For Junko Inoshima, despair isn't about purpose, a set of principles, a way of life, or an instinct. Despair is what defines her as Junko Inoshima. What are you saying? I'm a stuffed plushie. Hajime is a human. It's exactly like that. Junko Inoshima is full of so much despair so that she's truly hopeless. Living, dying, eating, loving, for her everything is despair. With her overwhelming force of personality, Junko recruited the ultimate despairs one by one. She controlled their despair by taking advantage of their love, hate, grudges, anything really. Junko's despair is far more dreadful than any others. That idea had been slammed right into their minds. And so the ultimate despairs who had been recruited became nothing more than Junko's limbs. All despair, whether it was their own or anyone else's, was dedicated to Junko Inoshima. Like believers making offerings to their god. Like a mother providing food to her children. They dedicated all despair so that they could escape from despair, all in Junko Inoshima's name. For example, they killed their family and friends and even destroyed their bodies through relentless mutilation. And to hopelessly top it off, they completely believed it was something that they had to do. No way something that crazy is possible.
what?
Do you know about the final days of the Reserve Corps students during the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy? The final days?
In other words,
Junko has the power to change people's values. This is also true of famous people throughout history. What do you mean, final days? What happened to the Reserve Department?
of course.
They fulfilled their role as disposable limbs. They believed that in what they needed to do. And so, the 2,357 students of the Reserve Department all committed mass suicide. Wow. Man. Must have tapped their Kool-Aid reserves pretty heavily. Mass suicide?
What'd you say?
All of them? Wasn't all of them. One person was excluded. One person was excluded, huh? Is that me?
Damn it!
I don't believe it. There's no way I can believe this. Ultimate despair, Junko Inoshima. Doesn't scare me at all. I mean,
Bastard!
Junko is already dead. Huh? Ultimate despair has been added. Reserve Department has been updated. Yuhiko, is it true what you said? Junko is really dead?
Huh?
You didn't see? There's a book called Manga for Morons, Killing School Life in that bloody classroom. A bloody classroom? No, wait. What was that you said about the killing school life? Like the killings we were involved in. They were killings that happened at Hope's Peak Academy. As I recall, the mastermind took her own life because the remaining students worked together to defeat her.
Well, yeah.
That's what it said. That's what it was. The killing school life ended up failing in the end. As a result, the 6 students who survived managed to escape from the academy.
Hey,
For a manga about the killing school life, it was drawn with a lot of silly images and dumb gags. According to that, the mastermind behind the failed killing school life was Junko Inoshima. Mastermind took her own life, which means Junko Inoshima is dead.
Like...
It turns out that killing school life was part of that whole biggest, most awful whatever incident. Junko took away the memories of former students of Hope Speak Academy and forced them to kill each other. Put them in a situation where they might be where they would be encouraged to kill one another. Whereas in this game, there were circumstances where they were forced to kill each other or die themselves. Former students of Hope Speak Academy, and she took away their memories. That's just like us. Apparently the whole thing was being filmed by surveillance cameras and broadcast worldwide. There's a limit to being cruel. The surveillance cameras were broadcasting the whole thing?
So...
The students of Hope's Peak Academy are widely known as symbols of hope. By forcing people to watch these symbols of hope kill each other for the sake of survival, they were trying to fill everyone who watched the broadcast with despair all at once. That's messed up. But that messed up plan was stopped. Junko failed. Junko lost the students she placed in her trap, and after being overcome by the despair she created, she took her own life. Then Junko is no more. No matter how horrible she was, there's no reason to fear someone who's dead. Whether Monokuma's story is true or not doesn't matter.
Bastard!
Junko isn't alive anymore. Then who is our enemy? If Junko Inoshima is already dead, are the rest of the ultimate despair behind this? Are the followers of Junko carrying out her will? It's the only thing I can think of. I mean, the killings we're involved in resemble that killing school life. I don't know who is imitating Junko and making us go through this, but an imitation is just that, an imitation.
No shit!
If the students from Hope's Peak Academy stop the real deal, there's no way we'll lose to some fake. But if this really is an imitation, are those surveillance cameras the same too? The cameras all over Jabberwock Island. Are they broadcasting to somewhere just like the surveillance cameras during the killing school life? And Hachime, you totally know about that story, huh? Do you have a problem with that? I really wanted you to read the manga version since I took the time to draw it.
What are you gonna do?
Oh well, I'll just raise the flag. Flag? What do you mean raise the flag? What's going to happen if you do that? Meta.
Ooh, how exciting!
One step at a time, you're getting closer to clearing my character route once again. You're not making sense again.
Well now.
I'll give you guys... Now then, I'll give you guys my all. I'll tell you everything I know, including information on the outside and the inside.
Yeah!
I'll raise them flags like crazy.
What?
Surprised. You want to hear about the ultimate despairs again? No, I really don't need you to.
Hey,
Even though the term ultimate despairs... term used to describe ultimate... He just started on his own.
Phew.
It's fine already. You don't need to keep explaining.
What?
It's fine already, but I'm just getting to the good part. Good part or not, I've already heard this from you before. We've warped again. Change to a different hallway again. It's so sudden. What's going to make something like this happen? I've already decided that I'm not going to be surprised. Right? There's no time for me to be surprised by something like this. It died. I guess if you let it wallow in its own filth for long enough, you know, disease sets in. We accomplished science today. He's very dead. Very dead. Until next growth, 999. In theory... Test here. Is it just going to change back to a regular one if it keeps going? We'll find out. Come on, zombie me. Akane's twitching her nose like a beast and examining her surroundings. What happened?
Based on my gut feeling.
You know, it's just my gut, but I feel like someone's getting closer. What do you mean? Who?
So...
Oh no, it's just my gut after all.
It's just my gut!
But still, her gut is pretty impressive. For some reason, it's strangely intuitive. And Monokuma did say something about the main cast coming. It's surprising, but her gut must be correct again, this time. Some sort of hovering tablet. This looks like the music room. I feel like I can see something strange. It's like some sort of monument. Why would there be a monument in the music room? Why would there be a hovering monument anywhere? Like, he's acting like it's weird that it's in the music room. Not that it's a hovering, glitchy monument. If it had been in the boys' restroom, then, oh, well. Combat the biggest, most awful, most tragic event is the Future Foundation logo. Not just that, the mark engraved into the monument is the symbol of the Future Foundation, right? Below that symbol, there's a short passage engraved. To combat the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history, the graduates of Hope's Peak Academy were among the many who established the Future Foundation. Huh? The Future Foundation was established by the graduates of Hope's Peak Academy? Aren't they known as World Ender? This is completely different. Monokuma, he completely made it up. Future Foundation's origins have been added to the Truth Bullet section. This words are floating in the air. It's like a hologram, right? I mean, now he's able to perceive some of the things. Floating letters are forming a sentence. Regarding the report we gave you the other day, we have obtained information. A person who claims to be a survivor of Hope's Peak Academy. Upon further investigation, there are a total of 15 survivors. Information. 15 survivors. You may be wondering about the number of people at this time. If they're survivors of Hope's Peak Academy, it's possible they may be targeted by ultimate despair. We believe we should acquire them and place them in our care as soon as possible. Though I don't believe the group can go that far without Junko Inoshima rallying them. In a worst-case scenario, we must prevent a repeat of the killing school life. Okay, so that would imply that the characters of 2 are these 15 survivors. And that then the expectation would be, Monomi and Chiaki are there as, I guess, effectively chaperones. They're there to keep an eye on everybody. And then Monokuma is ultimate despair catching up. If they are survivors of Hope's Peak Academy, we should expect them to be quite valuable to us. However, we are still investigating the details of their origins and we haven't located them either. We will continue investigating this matter. Also, regarding a separate matter, we have received a report from the research facility on Jabberwock Island. Preparations have been completed. It seems we can proceed with the experimental phase of the Neo World program. Yep. It's a matrix. We're doing a matrix. Survivors of Hope's Peak Academy, 15 students. Is that about us? Excluding Chiaki, who is part of the Future Foundation, there were definitely 15 of us, but what does survivors mean? What do you think it means? It's like they're talking about some other world. What happened outside Jabberwock Island? If the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history is really true, then the world isn't normal anymore. Maybe. I'm starting to feel like we might be better off not remembering the memories we've lost. Academy survivors. It's all the clues in this room. Finally confirmed, the Future Foundation is on our side at least. They were founded by the graduates of Hope's Peak Academy, and they took us in to protect us. If that's true, Chiaki should have made that clear to us. As long as Monokuma was around, she probably couldn't say anything carelessly. Monokuma, if he's the Future Foundation's enemy, then his true identity must be the ultimate despairs who caused the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. The ones who are carrying out the will of Junko Inoshima are making us go through this. Also, this caught my attention in the email, too. What is this research facility on Jabberwock Island? Mentioned in the email. What's that about? The only Future Foundation facility that we found was that ancient room. There's no way that's the research facility. If there really is a research facility on this island, there should be other Future Foundation members here. Somehow there are still so many mysteries. Feels different from a classroom.
Maybe.
Probably the office, right? I mean, the room kind of has that stuffy teacher vibe to it. The office, huh? Now that you mention it, it does look like that.
Well,
Yeah, it does look like every anime representation of the teacher's office. More importantly, have you seen Miss Sonia? I don't see her anywhere. How much longer is this guy going to be obsessed with Sonia? Give it up already. He speaks truth. There's something written on the blackboard. What's written here? List of subjects, and it's that group. Yeah, you can see the middle group, Nagito, Gundam, and Ultimate Imposter. Huh. Kyoko is set aside by herself under a magazine or newspaper article or whatever. Just below that are names I've seen before. There's a newspaper posted on the blackboard. Below that, Hyoko Saionji is written there. What is this newspaper? She seems less tiny. And she only has one sickle ponytail. What is this? It says Miss Hyoko Saionji. This can't mean the same Hyoko, right? I mean, the Hyoko we knew was much smaller and looked more childlike. It's pretty much her defining feature. But the photo in this newspaper, in a way I can see the resemblance to Hyoko, but her height and figure is too different from the Hyoko we knew. What does this mean?
Huh?
This lady looks pretty mature. Is she Hyoko's older sister or something? Well, it says Hyoko Saionji. Then Hyoko has an older sister with the same first and last name. An older sister with the same first and last name.
I mean...
That's the only explanation, right? I mean, look at it for yourself. That's not Hyoko. Did you ever hear her mention an older sister?
Man...
Well, it's not like I was that close to her or anything.
Wrong.
She doesn't have an older sister. Hyoko is the Saionji family's only daughter. She doesn't have a sister, then a relative? Ah, there's still too much of a resemblance.
What are you saying?
That's Hyoko.
Of course not!
He's saying Hyoko doesn't have a curvy body like this. I mean, she was famous for her childlike figure. She got away with all kinds of stuff for looking like that.
Well...
I don't know what to tell you. Maybe she had a growth spurt. What are you saying? She's already dead. No way she could have had a growth spurt.
Today, I'm feeling white.
Well, regardless, all the clues I've provided are true. If they weren't, it wouldn't be fair.
What's going on?
Yes, said Mr. Despair Virus in Starvation Funhouse. This is the truth, then the Hyoko in this newspaper. Is he really saying that that's the same person? That's impossible. I mean, how can there be a photo of a grown-up Hyoko when she's already dead? Then why does this even exist?
Hey, hey!
Could it be related to that list of subjects over there?
This is bad.
If it says subjects, maybe it means there was some kind of experiment, right? Did that experiment change Hyoko's body? What am I saying? Just saying it out loud makes it sound messed up. What experiment? If it's some kind of experiment, it would mean that we're also test subjects, right? I mean, our names are also written on the blackboard under that list of subjects. What kind of experiment was it?
What's going on?
Better not have anything to do with time travel. I agree. extremely overwhelming portrait is hanging on the wall. I feel like I've seen it before, but the name etched onto the placard says, Hope's Peak Academy founder, Izuru Kamukura. This is founder instead of Super Genius. Founder of Hope's Peak Academy in this name. Doesn't this clearly contradict the information I obtained earlier? Another mystery. Hope's Peak Academy's founder has been added to the Truth Bullet section of your handbook. Letters floating in the air like the music room. It's like a passage from an email someone wrote. I think it's the same one from earlier. We understand this matter regarding the survivors. In order to safely acquire them, please do your best and continue your investigation. However, you must exercise extreme caution concerning the remnants of despair. Even though they have lost Junko Inoshima, the fact remains that they are incredibly dangerous. Even after her death, the tragedy has not ended. Perhaps there is still a leader on par with Junko. As long as we do nothing about the remnants of despair, we will not be able to end this incident. For this reason, the remnants of despair must be immediately eliminated once they are discovered. Everything is for the sake of a shining future. Immediately eliminated? Does that mean this is an order to kill them? That doesn't sound peaceful at all. Well, I guess that's understandable. If the biggest, most awful, most tragic events in human history is as terrible as it sounds, it's pretty much all-out war. If the remnants of despair are the ones waging that war, there's no way they'd be forgiven that easily. Okay, with this, you've totally raised all the flags on this field. Congratulations, Hajime. You shall now go to the next stage. Next stage? Always different from last time. I guess when that flag Monokuma mentioned is raised, I'm moved to a different hallway than the last. But how can he do that? Now's not the time to be confused by that. Thinking about it is just going to waste my energy. Okay, clearly it's going to take a little bit longer to finish this. We're going to call it here and we'll pick up ideally tomorrow. Saves accomplished. But there's a substantial amount past the quote last class trial, and it seems like we're building up to another trial-like event. So we'll have to see. I think we're still holding par for the course with Danganronpa 2. That is notes of good with notes of bad. We'll have to see. I'm interested in how things unfold. And I have been told that the third installment is popular. We'll see, though. There'll be a gap, but first we've got to get through 2. The event. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for joining us. And I do hope to see you tomorrow, and if not, next time I stream. I will be updating folks on when the streams will be happening on the Discord. Otherwise, wait until you see a listing of a upcoming stream on my YouTube channel. Again, have a good evening, folks.